Hey guys, just want to make sure I'm talking to you a little bit more on supplementation. It's going to be one of the most important things for us to understand the benefit of, also the risk of, and kind of how it fits into your lifestyle. I'm going to focus on three specific supplements that can be very sports specific, and I'll even throw one additional one at the end that you might know already, but something you can't forget about. So if we're looking over here, excuse any of the other notes on this board, but when we're talking about sports nutrition supplements, things that can be considered ergogenic, or things that can help with your performance, we're really talking a lot about things like whey protein, creatine, beta-alanine. Maybe we're talking about a nitric oxide booster like a beetroot extract. Might be talking about something like tart cherry juice. Might be talking about other things like fish oil, vitamin D, magnesium, even things like caffeine, which is a big one that I didn't throw down here. But these are some really big ones that we want to make sure we're focusing on. And we can go through all of them. But right now I want to focus on three: whey protein, creatine, and beta-alanine. Because these are the big ones that people kind of hear about, and they might end up thinking that it's so supplementy, it can be almost kind of scary, or thinking that it's not natural. So what I want you to understand is how they can really work into your lifestyle. One important thing to realize is that these won't have much of an effect until you know that you're eating enough energy, that your calories are at an appropriate level, that you also want to make sure that your protein from food sources are pretty optimal as well. Now, whey protein can come in and help bump that up a little bit, but we don't want to be getting all of our protein from there. So we want to make sure that our calories are really focused. We want to make sure that we're, and for calories too, I'll throw in eating at least above 70% of your overall energy needs. Hitting 80, 90% if we need to. We can't be too deep within a deficit. We can't be underfeeding the body. If you don't know what those are, we can always look back into previous videos. But we want to make sure that we have our calories first focused on. And we also want to make sure that if our goal is to increase muscle mass, that we're actually getting the lifting, the resistance in it that we need to. From there, we want to make sure we are hitting on our macronutrients, getting our protein in, and then we want to make sure that we're focusing on things like micronutrients possibly, so that we're not just eating basically tilapia protein shakes and protein bars. That's not going to be giving us the things we want, even if you're getting enough protein, enough carb, enough fat. That probably isn't going to be optimal for your health, because that's where we're going to be low in iron, we could be low in magnesium, we could be low in a lot of other micronutrients. We then also want to make sure that we're going to look at things like timing of meals. If someone says that during my workout I feel so low energy, but they're not eating at all at the beginning of their day, they work out mid-afternoon and their first meal comes in after their workout, I'd say that sounds like it could be challenging because you don't have energy for your body to get through your workout. So timing of meals can matter. We finally have certain things just like our supplements, and that's where they fit in. What I just walked you through is what we call the pyramid of nutrition priorities, basically. So if you can see this here, I'm basically just saying that before we get to supplements, which is kind of up here, that's where this is, we want to make sure that you are focusing on things like your energy, or that you're eating enough calories. I hope you can see that. We then want to make sure that you're eating enough of your macronutrients. And then we want to make sure that you're focusing on your micronutrients. So again, not just eating straight supplements, not just eating like food that's not going to be giving you the things that your body requires. Again, like iron, magnesium, potassium, even some sodium. And then we have timing of meals. We want to make sure that you're focusing on this before you get to the supplementation up there. Clear? Got it? Good. Make sure that you're eating. And if you have any of these challenges, that's where I come in, and then we can talk about this, okay? So we're a little over 4 minutes in now, and we haven't even really gotten into this and why we're eating it or consuming it. So 3 of the ones that we know that can benefit you, that can have that ergogenic effect. Number 1 would be whey protein. The biggest reason why you'd be taking something like whey protein would, 1, be because you have to be eating more protein. So getting in a supplement can help keep calories lower possibly, or just making sure that you're not over consuming, and also just making sure that you're hitting those protein numbers. So this can take you from, if you're struggling to get from 120 grams of protein per day, and you have to get up to 150 for an optimal kind of amount for what you want to focus on, it can help to take in a supplement that's now going to bring you up there. The other thing that can really help with a protein supplement, specifically with whey protein, is that it can be very rapidly digested and absorbed. So after a workout, a lot of times to help reduce the incidence of things like muscle soreness and to kick off recovery even quicker, you want to get that protein in as fast as you possibly can. And so whey protein is the one that is most rapidly digested and gets into the muscle. You're also going to have other things just like a soy protein, you have like pea proteins, you can have blends of like quinoa, brown rice, and also pea protein. You can have blends of that. And that can end up giving you a plant-based protein source that's not going to digest as rapidly. It still doesn't mean it's not going to work, it's just not going to be as optimal, that's all. So that's where whey protein can come in. Also with whey protein, you want to know that there's going to be 3 different kinds that you might be getting in. There's more of a hydrolysate, which means that it's going to digest very, very rapidly. It's more overly processed or highly processed whey protein. You're going to have an isolate, and then you're also going to have more of a complete whey protein that's going to kind of contain a little fat as well. But usually we want to make sure that it's going to be as rapidly digested as possible, so we're going to be looking for something like the whey protein isolate. That's going to be cheaper, it's still going to be rapidly digested without needing to spend more money for a faster digesting one, and we don't have to be so low, we can actually spend a little more money there. But we're looking for a whey protein overall. That's the most optimal, but go with a plant-based protein if you want to. The other thing is going to be creatine. Now, I want you to think of creatine simply as energy. We get our energy mainly from food, but what I want you to think about is energy from creatine is going to be beneficial because it's going to help you almost recover during your workout to allow you to do more work. You're going to fatigue a lot less. So something like natural foods, animal proteins. We have things like poultry, fish, eggs, dairy, beef. All of those kind of foods have natural creatine in them. And so that creatine is going to be getting into your body, into your muscles, and what it's doing is that it's allowing you to make energy via ATP. ATP is the kind of thing in your body that gets basically released. It's little balls of energy that get ripped apart when we ask our body to do work. It releases energy and allows our muscles to push a weight or do a squat or do a sprint, whatever it's going to be. But that ATP is really the source of the energy that we want. Now, when we eventually run out of ATP, because there's a finite amount, we end up needing to take a break. So we take a break from the work that we're doing, and during that break from maybe 30 seconds up to 4 minutes, we are going to now have those little balls of energy kind of come back together. And what pulls those balls of energy back together to allow to break apart again in our next set possibly is going to be creatine. And so when we have creatine from natural food, it's helping us. But when we get creatine from an exogenous source or a supplement, this is what can help us recover right within our workout and help us to continue doing work. And this can help us be more explosive, lift more, do more reps, do more sets, and that itself can be leading to a higher muscle mass, lower body fat percentage, better performance overall because we can train more. It's also going to help with recovery. It helps with brain health also. We store most of our creatine really kind of around our kidneys. We also store it within our testes, and our brain is going to take up some too. So it's something where we want to make sure that taking it can be incredibly safe as long as we're taking about 3 to 5 grams per day. It's one of the most heavily tested supplements. Just make sure that we're looking for safe supplements by looking at an NSF certified for sport or an informed choice label on that package. We can visit nsfsport.com to actually see some of the safe supplements that have been listed and tested by that third-party testing company. But creatine is a great thing for all athletes to help with performance, explosiveness, and overall energy. The other one here that we kind of get afraid of would be beta-alanine. So beta-alanine we also end up eating from natural foods. We eat beta-alanine when we're eating certain things, just like our poultry, our fish, our other meat. But really what beta-alanine does is it really combines with another amino acid inside of the body called histamine. Histamine is something we've heard of around allergies and all that kind of stuff. But histamine is in foods like shellfish and a lot of other plant-based sources. So when you get your amino acid from those shellfish or plant-based sources like your spinach and eggplant and even avocado, and you end up getting the amino acid, the beta-alanine, from things like your fish, your poultry, your beef, those combine and they create another amino acid called carnosine. And carnosine builds up within your muscle, and that actually is going to act like a sponge or a buffer to any acidic environment. So as you work out, you may end up feeling a burn. If you end up doing a bunch of overhead presses, eventually, the more you do, you can get fatigued, but you might end up feeling a burn. Now, the fatigue is going to lessen, especially with the creatine, but now that burn that might stop you, or when you're doing a sprint, that is kind of a burn you're going to feel. What beta-alanine does with the help of histamine that creates the carnosine, that helps just make sure that it kind of soaks up that acidic environment. You don't feel that burn as quickly, and now you can continue doing more work more often. So your fatigue ends up being just is lessened. So that's where beta-alanine can come in. So they end up being something that your body really ends up using just from natural food sources, but you can basically process whey protein, you can create a synthetic form of creatine and a synthetic form of beta-alanine. But the more that we can add these in to our body through these supplements, we know that we can benefit athletic performance as long as we're hitting on all of these other areas here. So anyway, stay tuned for our other kind of topics on supplements. We can talk about vitamin D, multivitamins, iron, magnesium, omega-3, beetroot extract, tart cherry juice, how caffeine can help you. But I want to share that one secret one that we all kind of know that we need. A lot of what our body needs to do to recover and get back into activity is going to be sleep. We need to know that when we sleep, especially at the early stages of sleep, our body is recovering, we're releasing things like testosterone and growth hormone, and our body becomes stronger as it rests. So really make sure that sleep, is not going to be a very sedentary activity. Our body is actually very busy during that time, but making sure that you know that you can evaluate your sleep and know if it's working for you. Okay, anyway, quick introduction to some supplements. Stay tuned for more. You got this, guys.